Look, I'm underwater and I have no crepey skin. None whatsoever. It's magically delicious. I'm Joe Fury for Crepe Erase.
Crap, that's some crepey skin.
Crepe Erase. Crepe Erase. It's a beautiful product.
That's our new sponsor, Crepe Erase. Just Joe Fury speaking on the product. Haven't really tried the product myself. Apparently what it does is it gets rid of ugly, horrible, crepey squids. Squids are something that we're going to talk about more on the show. We don't have enough squids. Usually I have a floating squid here. Simpy Ranking, great to see you. We're going to bag a bottle of Crepe Erase at your usual venues. If you go to joelmarshall.com, you can get a lovely lunch therapy shirt, and perhaps there will be some Crepe Erase there someday. What does it smell like? That's a good question. I think it smells like beautiful cherry blossoms. There's cherry blossom smell, and then there's cigarette butt smell. That they have two different aromas. You'll notice I'm in Japan today. Actually, you know, most Americans are banned from travel, but somehow I got to Japan. So this is a show where we jump in, have some fun. Let's get into it. It's lunch therapy. Okay, it's breathing time. It is breathing time. What is this weird square that's over here? Well, this is some odd thing that I found that when people chat, it'll just show up there. I'm just going to try that for the breathing part of the show, just in case somebody wants to say anything. Simpy Ranking. In through the nose, out through your toes. Exactly. So here we go. In through the nose, out through the toes. Holding it. All the oxygen is filling up my lungs. Let it go. Yeah, the chats are kind of tiny. Well, I'll put them back on the screen, but it's mainly so I can see what's going on without spending too much time computerizing. It's just for fun. Just like everything on this show is just for fun. Except for the breathing. The breathing is for living. So we're going to go in through the nose, out through the toes. Holding. Let it out. Simpy Ranking's asking, is there a special episode for episode 100? Yes, it's on Monday. I would love it if people would send me videos congratulating all of us on our 100th episode. Just, I don't know, text it to me, email it to me at mythclub@gmail.com, mythclub@gmail.com. However you want to get it to me. Send me a little video that says, hey, congratulations on our 100th episode. Third breath. I just snuck it in there. And let it out. Jay Gaffney is here. He says that Crepe Erase smells like a cross between dog poop and Walla Walla sweets. Walla Walla sweets must be sweets that you get in Walla Walla, Washington. This is what I'm guessing. I don't know. Apparently they're very, very good because they taste like Crepe Erase. I'm going to keep the chats in that window for a little while today, just because it's fun. I know they're kind of hard to read, but what the heck? It's fun. All right, moving forward. We've done our breaths. I was talking through the whole thing, but you know, oxygen gets there anyway. That's the great thing about our bodies, is they just do the things while we're engaged in worrying about our crepey skin, because we need a lot of focus on crepey skin. I know it's kind of a new thing. None of us even knew about this until they had commercials and products for it, and now that we know, it's definitely something to be afraid of. That was cool because the chats seem to stay there. Like most neato things, not sure chat box picks up YouTube. Well, yes, it does. It didn't seem like it was picking up at first. These are the technical things of the show. So here we are on a Wednesday. Today, we're going to look a little bit more at some confinement issues and claustrophobia. We're going to talk about elevators. We're going to talk about something in undersea adventures. We're also going to look a little bit more, because the title of the show is something like, How Do Thoughts Get in My Head? And I'm not just talking about my head, because that's a total mystery. But I'm talking about how do all the thoughts get into our heads? And I've been really paying attention to this, so we're going to explore that a little bit more. I see Gina is here. It's good, because there was a lot of testosterone going on in this show. Hi, Joel. Nigel is off to buy an acoustic bass. He needs someone to jam with him. Well, heck yeah, we could do a Zoom jam. And it's great to see Jay Gaffney here, because we missed, Todd had said this yesterday, missed his wit. And I don't know if he said charm, but we definitely missed Jay's wit. Jay and Greg Wordala, they're pretty witty, as well as Todd Lee, of course, and Ganell and everyone else on this show, except for the host, this guy. I don't know. So some news occurred today. I get this message this morning. I wake up and just, whoa, on my phone. Turns out that one of our viewers, Sue Pascal, saw on Facebook that yesterday, while we were talking about being stuck in elevators, while we were talking about it right here on the show, one of our high school classmates was stuck in an elevator. She was in there for a good, I don't know, something like 5 minutes. There was no one there to ask about grapes. It was just her. She was freaking out, apparently. She tried calling on the phone. Where do those phones go anyway? Why do they have phones in elevators? Do they still have those? And why doesn't, a lot of times your cell phone just doesn't work. John Marshall is here. He says, I never knew I was claustrophobic until I got an MRI, and it was bad. Oh, yeah. You know, Todd sent me this video of MRIs, and those MRI machines, I don't know if you guys know this, but they have these gigantic magnets in there. And if I would have known, I mean, they don't even tell you. Like, what if you brought some huge piece of metal in your pocket? I guess they must frisk you or something before you go in there. But what they had in the video, and I'll show it at some point if I find it again, is somebody took a chair and just this metal chair, put it near the MRI, and it just sucked it in there like viciously. It was dangerous. And then somebody else took a wrench and put a cable on it, put it in there, and it was hovering, and there was like pounds and pounds of pressure on it. I didn't know this. Now I'm more frightened. About that. Okay, so chat window's got to go. because it's crowding me right now. But let's see what's happening in the chat room. There's a lot. Walla Walla sweets are onions. The things I learn on this show. It's incredible. They must tell you if you have metal on you, I would think, right? Pretty sure you can't get an MRI done if you have a pacemaker. Oh my God, the thing would just, alien, just right out of your chest and go flying off. Yeah, probably rip through your chest. I'm sure they test you for that. So the way I found out how an MRI works. I could never explain it to you though. Apparently we have water molecules all through our body because our body is 98% water. And their water is somewhat magnetic. So when this giant magnet pulls on your cells, the molecules start to spin around in some way, and it can be read on a computer. How clean do you have to keep your comments? Just have at it. Have at it. But try not to be, just make sure they're not mean-spirited, right? That's the main thing, not mean-spirited. I don't want to go in an MRI with a pin or a plate. And yeah, you don't want to do that. But I don't remember when I got an MRI, I don't remember them asking me, hey, do you happen to have a big old plate in your head? Water is polarized. We have a scientist. Our body is 70%-ish water. I love this because I can get fact-checked. Last week, I said some outrageous thing about Jules Verne inventing the submarine. And luckily, Greg Wordla was right there to get the facts. Simply Ranking says, so it will align with the magnetic field of the magnetic resonance of the machine. Hence the name. But as John says, it's terrifying because it feels like they're putting you into a coffin. And I don't like confined spaces, as we know. So that's what brings me to this, the underwater lab. So in Florida, off the coast of Florida, you can see on the left-hand side, they're in the water. Jay, your mom is out of maple syrup again. You see? I don't know. Maybe that's not mean-spirited at all. Whoa, look at this. So this is this is a place you can go on the internet where you can see this underwater lab that is 50 feet under the surface of the water off the coast of Florida. I don't know if any of you have been to this lab, but I would freak out if I was in this thing. What happens is you have to be a scuba diver and you dive all the way down to this thing. There's one of them there. And there you go up underneath it and there's just an entry and it's totally open. Anybody can go there and I don't know, use their microwave. And you swim up in there and then you take off your scuba gear and then you just hang out and you can live down there for up to 2 weeks. Super cramped though. You better like those people because it could be a real shit show down there. There's 6 bunks all on top of each other. And if you're asking the question, has anybody done it in this lab? I think a lot. I think people have done it a lot. I think it smells like crepe erase down there. From all the, unwashed socks and all the escapades that are going on in those bunks. What else do they have down here? Anyway, that's cool. There's all these things you can click on. Let's just click on one and see what happens. Oh, this shows us the outside. It's really pretty creepy. It's cool, actually. So what is the connection here with this and the International Space Station? I'll tell you what. They send the astronauts down there to live before they send them up to the International Space Station. And I guess that's just to make sure they're not going to totally freak out when they get in space, because in space, no one can hear you scream. And it's a lot harder to get you down than it is to get these people out of these silly underwater labs. Did I say silly? Yeah. This is the outside of the thing. This is probably the coolest part. It looks like, it's covered with all kinds of barnacles and sea life and fish swimming by. It's a lot better than the ride at Disneyland, I'll tell you. Let's get on with the show. It still sounds like the aquarium in here. So what were we talking about yesterday? Yesterday, I wanted to get back to what we were talking about because we have thoughts in our heads. And some of these thoughts. So human beings are like computers. Is there gravity? I gotta see what people say here because there's some interesting things. Is there gravity in that lab? Yes, there is gravity. However, they have it pressurized. And the reason they have this space underneath that you can swim up in, there's no door. There's just like a little pool. And all of a sudden you come up in there and you're like, hey, it's like I'm outside. But I'm not. I'm under the water, 50 feet down. There's a lot of pressure. It's pressurized, kind of like an airplane, I guess. And it's about the size of a school bus. I'm not going down there. Ganell, I'm assuming it would be normally pressurized, so yes. Like a scene from Leviathan. It's such a great name of a movie. Leviathan. I haven't seen Leviathan. Maybe. I have seen that movie with Ed Harris. It's not called The Deep. It's called, I don't know. You guys can tell me. I'm sure. Did you see the video of the boat sinking in the Jungle Cruise at Disneyland? No, please send it to me. We're going to have to investigate that. But right now we're going to investigate some of the thoughts that were put in our heads when we were kids. When some of us were kids, some of us were not, of course, like Ganell. That was a joke about the gravity. Someone has to be funny. What did he say? Is there gravity? That's a joke? I think we're going to have to go through our fears of jokes and then maybe we'll have some. Here we go. We're into the mind section, the therapy section. So the brain is like this big computer. Simpy Rankin can fact check me on this. But it is. It's like a computer and you program it. So when you're born, it's like, you got a brand new Commodore 64, and now you're going to put some programs on it, right? And there's already, hardware and stuff. And you got to be careful how you program it, though. Because if you program it to change all the paper clips into giant gargantuan monsters. No. How does it go? Oh, okay. If there was a computer that could change physical matter through, say, nanotechnology. Let's say my computer, which, we already have printers that print out physical things. So if I had a computer that could just instruct the molecules of my phone to turn it into a paperclip, then we would want to have a responsible computer that wouldn't think, oh, the most important thing in the world is paperclips. So I'm going to turn everything into paperclips. And eventually we just have a giant floating pile of paperclips for a planet. And that's what Ray Kurzweil is worried about. I don't know if you guys have read any of his books, Age of Spiritual Machines, all that stuff. He's just worried that there's going to be some computer that's able to transform matter. And it's just going to change everything into what he calls a gray ooze. So back to what we're talking about here, which we're talking about how do thoughts get in my head. If I'm a computer, I want to put the right programming into our heads. So we realized that I had a fear of sharks because of Jaws, the movie Jaws. And that was some kind of programming when I was very young and soaking up all this information. I saw the movie Jaws and they told me, hey, sharks are going to come and kill you. Wherever there's water, there's going to, and my understanding of that was so minimal that I just assumed that means that there are deadly sharks in every kind of water. So I was afraid to take a bath. I was afraid to sit on the toilet. I didn't sit on the toilet for years. I, kind of hovered over it. Just kind of hovered over it because I was, had to look for sharks the whole time. Otherwise, they come right out at you. So that was some bad programming that continued on in my life. Maybe I learned a few more nuances of it, but that it was just crappy programming. So we want to be careful of the kind of programming that we have. So when we were kids, we watched a lot of cartoons. I did, at least. Ganell, stick to being a nerd. Leave the comedy to us professionals. Simply ranking. I never came across a definition of the consciousness that I can fully understand. Not sure if I'll be able to fact check this section. It's true. Let's see what John said. I was programmed very badly. Yes. Many of us, we all were. We all were, somewhat. I do want to see what Simpy says, because this is like a paragraph. That's funny you mentioned the paperclips thing. There's an online game where you have to control an AI to produce as many paperclips as possible, as efficiently as possible. This would eventually include creating drones to kill humans and things like that. Eventually, the aim of the game is to convert every single thing in the universe into a paperclip, including suiciding the AI computer with the last few paperclips. Exactly. This is the point. So we want to make sure that we program our computers and our humans for productive, constructive, and life-affirming things. It's true. Well, okay. Todd is challenging the analogy here. That's not programming. That's the data your brain interprets. Well, let's go with that it's programming, and let's just see. So some commercials, are aphorisms. And when I was a kid, there was this commercial. Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That's simple enough, right? Sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. That, I can keep that in my head. I'm not going to get rid of that one because it's true. Sometimes you feel like a nut. The world would be a better place if all the people were converted into paperclips. See, that's exactly the kind of thought that computer had. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. Is that data? That is all the ingredients in a Big Mac that was programmed into me by commercials. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and a sesame seed bun. I don't need to think about that. Coconut sucks in candy bars. But this is really funny stuff. Nice. Did the stream end? Oh no. Did the stream end? Come on, Twitch. Well, hopefully it didn't end. Technical difficulties, we don't worry about them on here because we have to do our best. So 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions, and sesame bun. That is some kind of programming. I don't know what to say about it. It's Twitch is stuck. Send them on over to YouTube. Ganell saying you're not funny. He hasn't been programmed. You're just not very funny. Ganell is hilarious. Thank you very much. Ganell is my life coach, Ganell, because he's very wise. He's a very wise person. Okay, what about this? Here's another commercial from the 70s. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, this is another commercial from the 70s. I never saw this one. I don't know if you guys did.
A very extraordinary ice was invented. It was cold and cherry and very magical because when you poured water on it, it fizzed and grew into a soft drink so thick and cold you had to eat it with a spoon.
It's almost
like nothing the world has ever
sexual.
known before.
It's almost like a sexy commercial.
Wild and wonderful things ran up and down.
The music is
in
like
and
the
out,
Rolling Stones.
and all over inside you. And that's why today,
Sympathy for the
in
devil,
honor
I might
of
add.
that very extraordinary experience, we call this soft drink,
Chills
you
and
eat with a
thrills.
spoon, chills and thrills.
It's a frozen soda. And, you also might, get kind of aroused from watching the commercial. Watching on you, yes. By the way, the name of the game is Universal Paperclips or something like that, if you're going to check it out. I'm definitely going to check out Universal Paperclips. I did want to, as a side note, say there is also a game. There's something called Google spelled backwards. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. We're gonna have a day where we just talk about weird ass video games, not ass video games, just because this is a family show, but weird video games. Like, I love the Popcorn Garage. These are things that are available like out there on the web. I like the Popcorn Garage. Oh, by the way, you guys got to tell me, is there a movie that has the Twinkie emblem in it? Because one of the things in that Popcorn Garage, which is a garage that has a lot of elements from movies, props from movies, and we're supposed to guess what the movies are. Is there something with Twinkies in it? Because I don't know. And I will not end this show until I find out. I tried Die Hard because apparently he eats Twinkies in that. There's also one other thing in that Popcorn Garage, and maybe I'll show a picture of it sometime, but they look like little jellyfish floating about. And I thought it was maybe Cocoon, or maybe it was that movie with Ed Harris, The Abyss. I thought of it. It's weird how the brain works. That's data, right? That's data. That's not programming. Okay, I'm going to get at what Todd said. Data is, there's a movie, it's called The Abyss. It's about underwater, living underwater. That's data. Programming is, don't go in the water because you might drown. Or like I'm about to cross the street and there's cars coming and I have a little program. I first of all, an alert comes up and it goes, don't just walk out in the street because you might get hit by a car and get killed. And then I have a little program, and a program is a series of steps. So 1, I walk to the crosswalk. 2, I look up to see if there's a white light with a guy walking. 3, if there's not that, if there's a red hand, I press a little button. You know the rest. That's a program, right? Mora is here. Ghostbusters. Is it what? Twinkies and Ghostbusters? I don't think so. I mean, that's a good guess. But they have another thing in Popcorn Garage, which is the Ghostbusters little trap. I can't wait for the new Ghostbusters movie. I don't know if you've seen the ads for that, but do you ever stop and think that the brain named itself? It's crazy that we're even thinking about the brain while we're talking about it. And a lot of the stuff that I'm saying is stuff that's programmed in the brain or data in the brain. That's crazy. It's like brain salad surgery. Mulva says, a series of steps your mom taught you. Look both ways. That's why moms are good. Moms are good regardless of the fact that they make you afraid of elevators and afraid to go in the water. Mora says, yep. Ghostbusters. Well, there's got to be another one with the Twinkie emblem because I think that one's already used in the thing. My parents used to tell us to play in traffic. Of course they did. In the 70s, parents, they just, they didn't know a lot of times. They drove drunk with us in the back. I'm not my parents. My parents don't do that, but. Okay, what about this? Here's an ad for a restaurant that I never heard of, and I think I know why.
Kids,
it's called Sandy's.
You know that going to Sandy's is a lot of fun.
It's a kid talking to kids.
Take a really close look inside. Here's where they make the hamburgers.
Here's where they make the hamburgers.
And here's a thick shake machine. Wow, look at those crispy fries. Just
Those
looking
crispy
around
fries.
Sandy's is so much fun. It's almost as good as eating. Almost.
Sandy's put some
English
fun
patient.
into eating out.
Okay, Sandy's. Did you see? Wait, I gotta go back because I was really, really involved
Kids,
in the
we know
comments.
that going.
At the end, he's sitting there, and there's like is that just a mountain of hamburgers there? What is the message of this? The message is if you go to Sandy's, you can eat like a glutton, like a complete glutton. It does look good, but it didn't survive. Like probably that kid and the people that ate those hamburgers. Why do they call them hamburgers anyway? There's no ham in them, right? None of that. Sandy's is just sounds like a sad version of Wendy's. Maybe it was the original Wendy's and they decided, you know what? Sandy's sounds like there's sand in the hamburgers. We're going to have to change it. How about like Wendy's? Then there sounds like there's wind in the hamburgers. Reverse psychology. A lot of what you say, Todd, is reverse psychology. Sad plus Wendy equals Sandy. They call them hamburgers because they originate from Hamburg, Germany. Do you think that's true? I mean, that does sound right. Sounds like something I would say on the show. And then Greg Wordle would come in there and be like, a guy named Hamburg, who was from Venice, invented them. What do you call a burger made out of ham? Exactly. I used to go into the McDonald's and say, hey, I want to get a burger, but I want to have some cheese on it. I don't know if you have anything like that. And they'd say a cheeseburger. And I'd be like, wow, what? What did you call it? So many health code violations. It's great to see you here, Mike. So glad that you're here. Jay Gaffney, hamburgers were named after that McDonald's character in the jail suit that kept stealing food. I think he was a hamburglar. No, this is what I think about that, Jay, is I think that they stole, and I've read up on this. This is a real thing. They wanted to have HR Puffin stuff and those guys like endorse McDonald's or something like that. And this is where I'm going off the rails, just making it up. But essentially, McDonald's stole the idea of the HR Puffin stuff characters and the Sid and Marty Krofft stuff, and they just made it their own, made the Hamburglar, made the Mayor McCheese, the Big Mac guy, the Fry. What was the guy who steals? Oh, Hamburglar. No, that's not right. It's not. But you knew that. One more. A Burger King commercial. There was a guy all the way from jolly old England yesterday on the show, and he said he worked at Burger King. This is what they were.
If you believe in magic, then I've got a place for you.
Magic.
There's fun at every table with tricks by you know who. There's lots of tasty food. The Duke of Down might be there.
You go there and it's just magically destroys nutrition. All right. I promised that we were going to talk about something important, and we did. Basically, now we're looking at, okay, these are commercials. These are how they were programming us. And we know that they were programming us because I don't know, do you guys know, can you recite poems just off the top of your head? But most of us can say 2 all beef patty, special sauce, Southern cheese, pickles, onion, and sesame bun. That... Maybe I'm the only one, but I don't think so. There was also one really cool thing is there are some educators back then that decided, hey, we could use this to teach kids some real stuff. And as you know, that became Schoolhouse Rock. And one of the better times when I was in elementary school was when we had a teacher come in. And she was like, today, I'm going to teach you the preamble of the United States Constitution. And all the kids started saying, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, tranquility to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution. I think I got some of the words wrong, but I think provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare. Anyway, that all got in there because somewhere along the lines when we were watching those cartoons, they just threw that in there like it was a commercial. I remember the first one that I saw was for a noun. And it said a noun is a person, place, or thing. That was the song. And I thought it was a candy bar. So I went to the local drugstore, Stewart's Drugstore it was called, and I was looking around for the noun. Excuse me, do you have any nouns? Because they sure look good. They're like, no, we have mounds. Like, nah, I don't think that's it. It's like a person, a place, or thing. Let's see what Simply Ranking says. From Wikipedia, hamburger in German is the demonym of Hamburg, similar to Frankfurter and Wiener. Wiener. You know, demonym. I gotta look that word up because it sounds demonic. Let's see what Hummingbird says. Pledge of Allegiance is programming. That's right. But none of us really knew what we were saying. I pledge allegiance to the flag. None of us knew what allegiance was. Of the United States of America and to the Republic. I used to think it was for witches stand. That witches were standing there with their big pointy hats. For witches stand. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys have some of those too, where you just were saying it. We used to also say, the Lord's Prayer before we went to sleep. And my programming was that if I didn't say that, I was going to go to hell and burn in hell forever and be alone. And that was pretty dark. So I did it just because I was scared shitless. And it actually moved me on to a whole nother thing where when I would go to sleep, I would try and think of the ways that I could die so that I would be expecting them and they wouldn't happen, which is another programming which says if you expect something to happen, it won't. Our current president missed out on Schoolhouse Rock. Like, I'm a bill. That's the thing too. Yeah, we know like how a bill works. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill and I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, then basically goes to the House and Senate, and then I go to the president, and the president doesn't understand that. But we don't talk about politics here unless you provoke me. Tom Petty song. This is Gina. Gina is obviously one of my favorite people. Tom Petty song. I used to sing Dawn acts like a little refugee. Yeah, that's right. Dawn acts like a little refugee. Yeah, I have a million of those. I used to think it was, whoa, 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 creeping lion, wow, wow. You know the Van Halen song, Jamie's Crying? In my world, there was no Jamie crying. Jamie was a guy's name too, I think. Whoa, 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 creeping lion, wow, wow. We got to hear some more of these. I thought it was Jingle Bells, Batman Smells, Robin Laid an Egg, the Batmobile lost his wheel, and the Joker got away. There's so much as we start to really look into what our programming is and what our data is, as Todd says. There's a lot of it in there that is just, imagine if it was important. Let's see what Todd says. What you're saying is we have no free will. We are destined by our programming. That it's very funny. It is. It's very funny also. Also, what we're doing here is we're developing. There's going to be a stand-up bit about this. It might not be a stand-up bit today. This is the way stand-up goes, by the way, for you guys to know. A lot of people, we're going to look into this tomorrow, actually, what it is to be a comedian. And what it is to be a comedian is you have to get this stuff out there, examine it. And I appreciate that we're all doing this, because then what happens is then you take it all and you put it into a little compact little thing, and you find the funny in it, which we're going to find. We're going to find it on this show. Maybe that's what we should do on the show, is we should, go through the shows, but also I'll start honing the bits, and maybe once a week we'll do like an actual comedy thing. And, I miss comedy. I mean, I definitely miss comedy on this show, but I also miss stand-up comedy. And, a lot of it is because there's no, we don't have laughter like this, all sitting in a room, just cackling away. But we do have other things. We have community, and we can actually have a discourse. I'm going to start doing that when you guys say something funny. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to look at a few more chats. And then obviously we have to end because we're way over time, but it's been fun. It's been a fun day. Mulva, I thought it was, oh, Judge, keep it down now. Voices carry. Whoa, Judge, keep it down now. Voices carry. This is like a karaoke, weird karaoke. I'm a weird karaoke machine. Let's see if there are any more of those. Do you have a fear of lions too? I love lions. In fact, I should probably have a fear of lions, and I don't. I feel sort of like, I'm such a cat person. But of course, my cat whacked the crap out of my face the other week. And, it's karma though, because the other day, after our transformer blew up in the backyard, he had a big scar on his face. So he and I both have scars. Simpy Ranking says, if we have no free will, what's the justification of punishing criminals? That's a good question. I'm postulating or pontificating or saying that we do have free will, and we have to be careful about the programming that we put in our heads and we put in each other's heads. This is what I'm saying. I'm saying we are a community and we are all together, and we have to be careful about how we talk to one another. We have to be careful about the media that we put out. We have a responsibility because we do have free will, but we are often manipulated by our false programming. Mulva, we have the free will to break our programming if we recognize it. Exactly. That's one of the things that makes us human, is that we're able to kind of examine ourselves and name our brain and all that stuff. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, of whatever leaf it is very important, because when you do have like that horrible hangover and you're like, what do I do about it? Instantly, like, not only is the product there, but also the instructions. That's one of the good things about that programming. Let's see what Todd says. Not when giant corporations have programmed us from birth. Exactly. They have been programming us, and we have to somehow like filter that and even look back on it and go like, why am I so addicted to sugar and salt and caffeine and all these other things? I want a 24/7 stream that's just canned laughter. Yeah. Sven just got back from Spain. Spain, I said. Sven just got back from Spain. You had some good there once. I did have some good there once. There's a lot of good there. It's great to see you, Sven. Sven is in Belgium. He's in Leuven. Or at least when I went to visit him, he was in Leuven. One time, I sent Sven a letter through the mail, and I said, Sven de Kock, which is his name, Leuven, Belgium, just get it there. I didn't know his address. And he got it. That's the punchline. Maura says, my sister-in-law thought it was horses play. No, walk this way. Horses play. Horses play. That was a tough one because walk this way was not something that we say all the time. I thought it was Morcus Way. And I thought it had something to do with the television show Mork and Mindy. Mork is way. Mork is way. Like, I don't know, way cool, or maybe it was a street called Mork is way. Simpy Ranking says, if we do have free will, do other entities also have free will? Do non-human animals have free will? How much free will does a comatose person have? That's some deep stuff. We got to investigate that. Quit doing all your serious stuff, man. I'm trying to best to laugh at these jokes. Got any grapes? So, okay. This is the end of the show. This has been fun. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you have too. There will be a comedic bit or a whole routine someday about how we program our heads, and it will be funny. But some of this was just sort of like good to know. I'm going to be thinking about it all day. I never even got to what I wanted to get to, which is always what happens. And we're going to get to it tomorrow, which is all part of this long week of confinement week. I got it, man. Incredibly. And we did have quite a good summer. Sven, one of the best summers of our lives, I think. I had one of the best summers of my life with Sven de Kock over there in Belgium. Make of it as you will. We had an awesome time. I was talking to Sven the other day about how we put shorts on when we were in Rome, and we ran around in the rain, and they were yelling, Dolce Vita at us as we ran by. Someone else yelled, Die Hard. And someone else yelled, The Seventh Seal. They were just yelling movies at us. I don't know why. Maybe they knew we were movie buffs. Okay, it's dance party time, dance break. This is somebody I've had on the show a lot. She doesn't know she's on the show. It's the kind of show this is. I don't know her, but she's a really fantastic singer. And this other guy, his name is actually Fabio. I'm going to play it. Thanks for being here on Lunch Therapy. 100th episode is coming up on Monday. See you soon.
1, 2, 3, 4. Ain't no sunshine, she's gone. It's no autumn when she's away.
It's funny you mentioned that, Todd. I also blew out somebody's speakers in college listening to Boston, which is a great album. But that was cool. But it was totally worth it. I love this guy Fabio. He is so good. This song, Ain't No Sunshine, Ali Sherlock, Fabio Rodriguez is his name. All right, it was a long show. I'm so glad. I'm so glad to just be alive. Me too. Talk to myself. All right, we gotta go. Talk to you tomorrow.